Okay, hi y'all. Welcome to my kitchen. Today is Wednesday. It is December 13th. Wow. We're almost halfway through the month of December and Christmas is just around the corner. So, what we're going to do today, and I have not set up yet. I just actually got back from the pantry. And you might be wondering, well, it's Wednesday. I thought you worked at the pantry on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, I do work Tuesdays and Thursdays at the pantry. But today happened to be the day that the pantry ended up getting a large shipment and they needed help bringing the shipment into the building and unloading it. So we got great stuff that corporations donated. We got a bunch of stovetop stuffings. We got pop, coffee, cookies and chips and stuff. So that was exciting. I'm excited for tomorrow because I'll actually be at the pantry tomorrow working out. So I figured we'd get started with a new Christmas cookie, and this is the chocolate sprinkles. I'm going to give you guys a minute to see the recipe, and don't worry, I'm going to actually be reading off the recipe. That's the back if you guys need help. So this recipe is going to have your oven set at 350 degrees. You don't need to set it or preheat it right this second because these cookies need about an hour in the refrigerator before you bake them. So while they're resting in the refrigerator, you're going to actually then preheat your oven. So this recipe calls for 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of confectionery sugar, and if you don't know what confectionery sugar is, that's powdered sugar. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. It wants 1.5 cups of sifted all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of rolled oats, and we'll get into what rolled oats are in a minute, and then half a cup of chocolate sprinkles. So, I'm going to stop the video for a second. I'm going to get set up and we're going to get right into this recipe for the holidays. So stay tuned. Okay, and just like magic, I'm back. Before we get into this recipe, I want to take a few minutes to welcome all my new members. Welcome to my channel. We do things very relaxed in my kitchen. Any comments you want to make, leave them down below. I know most of you guys now comment on my videos and I answer you guys all back and forth. You might notice there's a little bit of changes going on my channel. One was I changed the name of the channel to Cooking with Joel because that makes sense since I'm actually cooking now. One viewer suggested In the Kitchen with Joel, and there's a reason why I didn't do In the Kitchen with Joel, and that's because somebody already has that YouTube name. If you do a search, there's already a person with the name In the Kitchen with Joel. So Cooking with Joel is you're cooking with me. Second of all, I want to do a huge shout out to a very wonderful lady. You guys know her as Chelsea. Her channel is Our Urban Homestead. She has really gone the extra mile to get me not only viewers, but she helped me do playlists for my channel. We had a blast on the phone last night chatting while I was doing that. That's the other new thing you're going to find out. Now my videos are going to be in playlists. And I'm going to, from here on out, do playlists so you guys will be able to find the recipes much easier if I'm doing a dish and I say, you know, you should serve this with dumplings. All you need to do is go into the playlist and look for the dumplings, and then there are going to be 2 segments of the dumplings. One will be yeast, one will be bread dumplings. When I do the chicken and dumplings, they'll also be in both the recipes as well as the dumplings. And that'll just streamline things much easier. So a huge thank you to her. She went out of her way to help me, and hopefully now that the channel will be more successful. Also, take a couple of minutes, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and make sure that the bell is ringing for you guys so you get updates on when I upload videos or when I do go live. Speaking of live, Friday, I am so excited. I'm going to do the bullseye cookies Friday. We're going to go live at 7:30. My husband's going to join us for some drinks. He's getting recipes now. You guys keep those drink recipes that you want him to be featuring down below. Hopefully I don't get too drunk Friday because I have cookies to make. But we're going to have a guaranteed good time. The chat is amazing. You're great people that are in my chat. We just have a good time of drinking and baking. Starting next year, I'm going to do lives probably every either Saturday or Friday or Saturday. And we're going to switch after the first of the year into more meal videos versus cookies. But I know you guys like your desserts, so I will keep coming with desserts as long as I can. Now, that's all been said and done, let's get into this recipe. I have all of my ingredients out, but I don't have anything measured. Y'all timers know where you're going to go. You new timers don't know. I usually stick some of you guys on the garbage can. It's just easier for me to film close eyes than it is across the table. So, I was saying this recipe does not use granulated sugar. It uses confectionery sugar. And confectionery sugar is basically powdered sugar. Now, I did say that this uses rolled oats. And it uses 1 cup of rolled oats. And any Quaker Oats is a rolled oat. You want to use the quick and not the long version. So if you have oatmeal, but it takes a long time to make the oatmeal, don't use it in this cookie. You want a quick oatmeal. And this does have a little bit of oatmeal. Unfortunately, this recipe you cannot substitute for something else. I'm sure those of you that are smart enough, if you like to play with recipes, might be able to play with it. But this is how my grandmother wrote this down. And this is the cookie I remember when I was much, much smaller and littler. So let's get started with this recipe. I gotta grab my butter. Now my butter is a little bit hard. I forgot to take it out of the refrigerator and I thought I had 2 things of butter out, but apparently they got used. So I'm gonna heat these up for 15 seconds in my microwave. And you just want to do 15 seconds. You don't want to melt the butter. You just want to soften it enough to cream. So, I hope everybody's having a great week. I'm hoping you guys are all done with your holiday shopping and you're not stressing. This could be a very bad time of the year. Speaking of which, I'm going to say this. If anybody is feeling blue or low for the holidays, shoot me a message. I am always here to listen to you guys. We can chat. I can always pop on a video. And, you know, I don't want anyone to be upset for the Christmas holiday. I know this is for some people, it's the most depressing time of the year. And, you know, just so that people care. Stream all of my videos. You'll have a good time laughing with me. You be quiet. That was my husband, obviously. And he will be on Friday. He's going to read the chat. But some of you guys have, I know one of you guys want him to do a pink lady. I know Tom and Jerry, that one might not be done on Friday. We might have to do that on a day that he's not watching the sport game, because that's a little bit of a longer drink to make. One of you did comment about a raspberry drink, and I am going to run out tomorrow and get some fresh raspberries. And we're going to do some raspberry drinks using raspberry vodka, chocolate, and some other things. So we'll have a good time on Friday night. Now, I just heard this rip, so pardon my fingers. Yep, I see where it ripped. Always when you do butter, if you hear it rip, just make sure your hands are clean and you grab, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's a piece of paper. You definitely don't want that in your cookie. Let me rinse my hands really fast, because now I've got butter on them. And we're going to get started. So what I did is I just softened for 15 seconds in the microwave 2 sticks of butter. And that's your 1 cup of butter. So I'm going to struggle with this bowl. This bowl has been giving me a little bit of problem lately. It's one of the older glass bowls. And for those of you that are new to my channel, you regulars know this particular machine came with the glass bowl. That was one of its nice features. Unfortunately, these glass bowls break relatively easy, and they're a pain in the butt to keep. But I have multiple glass bowls now. So when you're first opening powdered sugar, it's always good to kind of compact it down below so that you have an area where you can just cut straight across, and then put your powdered sugar. If you have a food saver, you can always suck it up, but make sure to put your powdered sugar in a Ziploc airtight container. That just keeps bugs out of it and keeps you from getting any insects, because they love powdered sugar. So the recipe starts with creaming the butter and the sugar together, and then you're going to add your vanilla. So it's 1 cup of butter to 1 cup of powdered sugar. And you might wonder, how do you measure out powdered sugar? Well, powdered sugar is one of those that you really don't want to compact. You don't treat it as if it was brown sugar. And you basically want to treat it kind of like a flour, where you do a scoop and get the knife and you go across that to make it even. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure it out. And like I said, powdered sugar has the tendency to go all over the place. So just use judgment when you do this. So I'm just going to cream the butter and the powdered sugar together. Unfortunately, when you're working with powdered sugar, make sure you clean it up right away, because what happens is powdered sugar, when it starts to dissolve, can get very, very sticky. And it makes a huge mess. And the last thing you want in your kitchen is a mess. So I'm going to give this a couple of minutes to mix. You just want to mix it and make it a nice creamy consistency. And let me get my trusted spatula. And this time I promise I'm not going to break my spatula. My husband was kind of thought I was nuts when I broke it and said I broke it. Okay, make sure when you mix your butter and your powdered sugar, make sure you scrape the bowl so that you can incorporate the powdered sugar that falls to the bottom of your bowl. And I'm just doing that now. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, so. Now I took my machine up to about a 5 to do that, and this is getting Okay, this is getting creamy. I'm going to lean you guys in so you guys can see what it looks like. Should start to look like that. Now is when you really want to scrape the bottom of the bowl. And I can see little tufts of white underneath. And it should look like that consistency. Of course, I didn't mean to smash it on the side of my bowl. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna stir this for a few more seconds. And now we're gonna add the vanilla, and it uses 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Of course, I have to find the vanilla. And you guys all know that I'm... Buy the best vanilla you can. I know vanilla is really, really expensive. But the pure vanilla makes the recipe really good. So that's 2 tablespoons... Or 2 teaspoons, I'm sorry. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we're just going to combine that in. I'm going to speed this up for 1 second. And you just want to mix it in. So I'm going to give that a minute. It should be nice and fluffy. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to tip you guys over. So now your dough basis should look like that. Since we're getting to the 14-minute mark, I'm going to pause the video for a quick second. I'll be right back after this message. And while I'm back. Okay, so now that the vanilla has been added, we're going to add the flour sifted with the soda and the oats. Now, here's where it can get really tricky because it is incredibly hard to sift oats. And unfortunately, let me move you guys to the hutch. If my big guy is joining us in the kitchen today. You might be wondering why you're not hearing the mouthpiece. Well, the mouthpiece is actually right there, and he's been kind of quiet right now. Until I say that, now he's going to start barking. So, for those of you that don't have an actual sifter, one of these will work for the flour, but you cannot sift the oats through here. You actually have to have the sifting machine, and I'm gonna have to bring you guys down for a minute. I'm gonna be off camera, but I'll be talking because the next thing I have to do is figure out where I put the sifter, and I think it's on the other side. I think it's in the back. Nobody asked for an amen up there. Yep. Okay, so even sometimes in the new kitchen, I forget where I put stuff. So if you have the old-fashioned sifter like this, this is what you need to use for the rolled oats. And it takes, let me move you guys up. It takes a good, now you're too far back. There we go. Okay, it takes a while to roll or to sift the oats because they're a thicker material. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. And if you're new to sifting, this is what they call an old-fashioned sifter. Some of them have a crank handle. Some of them you use has the little handle that you go like this. On I think Chelsea's channel, I think she has the one that you squeeze versus the one you turn. The one thing that I suggest if you're going to do anything sifted is get a plate or a bowl and sift it into that. Sometimes a plate is a good thing to have underneath, especially if you're really good on your measurements. You can just use the plate, and I'm going to flip you guys around this way so you can see, and I'm going to angle you guys down a little bit. There we go. Voila. So when you sift, just sift on here, and that'll add your ingredients. So the recipe says to add the flour sifted with soda and oats. So for the flour, we're going to use 1.5 cups of sifted flour. So that's the half cup. Oop, let me get my little paddle out there. And of course, y'all know I love my King Arthur flour. I use King Arthur flour predominantly in everything. So that's the half cup. Now we're going to do the 1 cup. You might be like, oh my God, you had powdered sugar in it. Really doesn't matter if you have a little bit of powdered sugar in your flour. It'll work just as well. So let me put my vanilla up since we've already used that. Now, for the baking soda, it's going to use 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're just going to measure that, and we're going to put that right in here. Now, for the rolled oats, it's 1 cup. And you want to be very careful with your rolled oats because what happens a lot of times, and if you're new to oatmeal or have never had oatmeal in your life, that's what rolled oats actually look like. And I'm sure most of you guys probably at one time or another in your life have had rolled oats or had oatmeal. So you just want to be careful with this, and it does not have to be an exact measurement. If you can get it as close to 1 cup as possible, that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to use my hand. So what we are going to do with the rolled oats is you're going to dump it directly into your sifter. So your sifter is going to be quite full with everything in there. And you're going to just sift all of those ingredients together. Now, make sure you cover your rolled oats because if that falls off the cabinet, you're going to have oatmeal all over the place. I'm going to move you guys for a quick second. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to sift all of this. And like I said, it's going to get a little bit tight. And sometimes sifting oats is very, very hard to do. And you just have to be patient with it. And believe it or not, this is coming through. It takes a while to do oats. And I'm going to actually show you what your flour mixture, I have all of that in there. What you sometimes need to do is take about 1/2 cup of your already sifted flour and put that on top of the oats. And then continue to sift. Now, like I said, you just have to be patient with this. It takes a while for rolled oats to go through the grinder. And I know this is the most boring part because it can take 10 minutes to actually sift this. And you just want to be as patient as possible. And not force any of this to go through. So I'm going to stop the video for a second. I still have a lot of the rolled oats in there, but you can kind of see what it's doing with the flour mixture. So I'm going to stop the video right now. I'm going to finish rolling this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. So stay tuned.